In 1956, in Defiance, Ohio, a housewife named Evelyn lives with her 10 kids and her husband, Kelly, who drinks too much. To help with the family's money problems, Evelyn takes part in lots of jingle-writing contests. She's good at coming up with rhymes, but her real strength is her determination. Evelyn uses her children's names to enter contests multiple times, which increases her chances of winning. Kelly works in a factory as a machinist, but his pay isn't great, and he spends a lot of money on alcohol. One day, the family gets bad news they are being evicted because the landlord's daughter is getting married, and he wants the house for her. They have only 3 weeks to find a new place to live. Kelly tells their children not to worry because Evelyn always finds a solution, and she does one of her jingles wins her $5,000. The family celebrates, and even their neighbors come over to congratulate them. However, Kelly seems irritated when someone says he's lucky to have such a clever wife. Evelyn and Kelly use the prize money to secure a loan for a new house. Evelyn wants to sign the paperwork too, but the banker says it's not necessary since Kelly is the one earning money from his job. Kelly agrees, saying it's his responsibility to pay the mortgage. Evelyn is upset because it was her prize money that made the purchase possible, but she stays quiet. The family moves into their new home, and Evelyn wins another prize, a large freezer. Kelly doesn't like it, saying it's too big and will use too much electricity, but he's really upset because he feels pressure to keep it stocked with food. And later, Kelly gets drunk while listening to a baseball game on the radio. His team is losing, and he starts shouting angrily. The neighbors yell at him to be quiet, but that only makes him more furious. He begins smashing things in the kitchen, focusing on the freezer. Evelyn and the children leave the house and look for the police. However, when the cops arrive, they just drink with Kelly and talk about the game, then tell Evelyn that Kelly just needs to sleep it off. Even the local priest doesn't help much. He tells Evelyn that Kelly is under a lot of pressure because he has to support a big family, so she should work harder to make the home more comfortable for him. Things weren't always so bad. Evelyn used to be a writer for a newspaper, and Kelly was a singer in a successful band. They used to have a lot of fun together, but after Kelly was in a car accident and hurt his throat, he couldn't sing anymore. He took a job at the factory to support the family, but he's been depressed ever since. That's why Evelyn is so patient with him. The next day, Evelyn asks Kelly for money to buy milk, and their daughter Tuff points out that Kelly spends a lot of money at the liquor store. Embarrassed, Kelly promises to start bringing home groceries every day until the freezer is full, but the money he gives Evelyn isn't enough for milk, so she searches all the pockets in the house but still doesn't have enough. Luckily, the mailman arrives with a letter containing another cash prize, which Evelyn uses to pay for the milk. Soon, Evelyn wins another big prize, a shopping spree at the grocery store. She asks each family member what food they've always wanted to try. The kids ask for candy, and Kelly says he'd like to try shrimp cocktail. Evelyn prepares carefully for the shopping spree. She tells the butcher what she wants in advance, arranges for the store clerks to help her load the cart, and gets her kids to keep track of time so she can shop as efficiently as possible. Kelly even oils the cart's wheels to make sure nothing goes wrong. Akashaplas in Tuzrisum side as a Rudni contizations is portus page. The shopping spree is a huge success. Evelyn fills the cart with expensive food, and Kelly is moved to tears when he sees how much she's brought home. But once they're back home, Kelly gets upset again because Evelyn filled the freezer before he could, making him feel like she's taking over his role as the provider. While the rest of the family enjoys trying out the new food, Kelly's anger builds, and he starts throwing things out of the freezer, looking for a burger. Is down is Deri Timedy, and Ms. Pristant Secrets Prices Rice's Ram. Your Ember Truck. Kelly starts acting out by grabbing a bunch of stuff and throwing it into the garden, but Evelyn doesn't pay attention to him and keeps her cheerful attitude. Frustrated, Kelly gives up, grabs a can of Spam, and eats by himself at the counter. Feeling sorry for him, Evelyn gives him his shrimp cocktail and invites him to join the family, which makes Kelly break down in tears again. But it's 4 years pass, and Evelyn continues to win a variety of prizes that help support the family. They keep some of the items, like clothes, food, and even a free window installation, but they sell things like a pony to help pay the bills. As the years go by, the 3 oldest children grow up and leave home. The eldest daughter goes to nursing school, and the 2 oldest boys sign contracts to play baseball with the Detroit Tigers, making Evelyn very proud. By 1960, Kelly is having another rough night. He gets drunk and starts complaining about the rundown place they live in, blaming it for why the kids left. Evelyn, busy working on her next jingles, ignores his complaints. Kelly responds by making rhymes, but his are full of insults. He accuses his family of being too cheerful, but they just laugh, thinking he's joking. One afternoon, Kelly comes home early after spending money on alcohol. When the milkman arrives, they don't have money to pay him, so Evelyn convinces him to leave them milk until next week, promising to pay then. The milkman agrees but warns them that if they don't pay next time, he'll stop delivering to their house. When Evelyn comes back inside with the milk bottles, Kelly, angry and frustrated, yells at her, accusing her of staying home writing rhymes while he works hard. In his rage, Kelly immediately feels guilty and starts crying, offering to take her to the hospital, but Tough steps in and reminds him that he's the one who hurt her. The other children run to ask a neighbor for help, and the woman next door takes Evelyn to the doctor. That night, Evelyn comes back with her hands bandaged. Kelly greets her with tea, but Evelyn wants to change clothes first. Their next prize is a car they plan to sell and an all-expenses-paid trip to New York. But just as they're preparing for the trip, they get a call from the police. One of their sons was caught stealing money from a lady's purse. Evelyn bails him out, but when they get home, Kelly is furious and hits the boy. The family becomes afraid of being alone with Kelly, so Evelyn decides to cancel the trip to New York. But to make up for his mistake, their son agrees to join the army instead of going to jail. He also offers to teach Evelyn how to drive, but she refuses, explaining that they don't have enough gas. And a few days later, Evelyn receives a letter from a group of housewives in pain, inviting her to join their meetings. The meetings are only 85 miles away, but Kelly refuses to drive her, saying even if they had the money for gas, he's not going to waste his Saturday sitting in a car while she has fun with her friends. Then, one of her sons wins 25 gallons of gas in a football pool. However, Kelly and the boy argue over who owns the gas, since they both entered the pool using the siblings' names. Evelyn settles the argument by making them split the gas, but this makes Kelly even angrier. Grateful, her son agrees to drive Evelyn to the meeting, but just before they leave, another issue arises. One of the younger kids brings Evelyn some flowers as a gift, but they were stolen from the neighbor's gardens. Evelyn has to stay home and spend the day apologizing to the neighbors and figuring out how to repay them for the damage. 3 years later, in 1963, Tough has learned to drive and offers to take Evelyn to her meeting. During the trip, the car starts overheating, which worries Tough, but Evelyn tells her to keep going until they find a mechanic. When they do, the mechanic says it'll take over an hour to fix. Tough suspects that Kelly knew about the problem and didn't fix it on purpose, but Evelyn doesn't think he's mean, just careless. Evelyn's daughter wonders if her mother regrets marrying Kelly since she's been stuck in the house without much of a life for herself, but Evelyn assures her that she has no regrets because she loves her kids. Later, Evelyn finally makes it. The group is so kind that the leaders saved the last contest entry form just for Evelyn because Dr. Pepper is offering a big prize for this one, and Evelyn needs it the most. When Evelyn and her child, Tough, get home later, they find the front door locked. They head to the backyard and discover that Kelly had taken the kids to the movies but got tired of them and left them outside. The back door is locked too, so Evelyn starts yelling for Kelly. When he finally opens the door, he has the nerve to scold Evelyn for being late. In his anger, Kelly grabs Evelyn's arm, but the kids jump in to defend their mother. Evelyn snaps and throws a bowl of jelly at Kelly, making sure he'll be the one to clean it up. Despite this, Kelly tries to make it up to the family by announcing that he bought steaks for dinner and a new desk for Evelyn, so she can have her own space to work. Not long after, Evelyn gets bad news. A loan officer calls to inform her that they are behind on payments for his second mortgage. Confused, Evelyn learns Kelly secretly took out a second mortgage 3 years ago. Now they owe $4,000 within 30 days. Devastated, Evelyn tells her kids that they might lose the house because she believes it's better for them to hear it from her. When Kelly gets home, he admits there's no money left and explains that he just wanted to have some extra cash for himself. He suggests they go back to renting, which deeply hurts Evelyn. She reminds him that this is her house. During dinner, Evelyn informs the kids that they may have to live with their relatives if they can't find a good place to stay, and this news brings everyone to tears. When Evelyn takes the last bit of food from the freezer, she faces the difficult task of disconnecting it. She finds the children praying for help, and soon after, the milkman arrives. He kindly offers to leave the milk and collect payment later, even suggesting Evelyn could do his laundry to cover the debt. However, she refuses, feeling insulted by the offer. Later, Evelyn gets a call from Dr. Pepper. They tell her they're coming over for an interview. She rallies the family to clean the entire house, and they use their last dollar to buy a few Dr. Pepper bottles to make a good impression. The interview goes well, but the winner won't be announced for a few weeks, leaving the family resigned to losing their home. Kelly tries to stay hopeful, but the kids blame him for losing all their money, leading to a fight. This pushes Evelyn to her breaking point, and she runs to her room in tears. Kelly tries to comfort her, telling her she always finds a way out. Frustrated, Evelyn snaps and tells him it's his turn to figure things out. As days go by, Evelyn makes smaller meals with what's left in the pantry, and the family starts packing up their things. When the phone rings, Evelyn expects the worst, but to her surprise, she's won the Dr. Pepper contest. The prize includes a trip to Switzerland, a car, and over $3,000. The whole family celebrates except for Tough, who runs to her room in tears. Evelyn comforts her, acknowledging that Kelly may never change, but reassures Tough that she has her whole life ahead of her to live differently. In the end, Evelyn doesn't go to Switzerland. Instead, she cashes in the prize to pay off the mortgage. However, she does get a little vacation when Dr. Pepper invites her to Texas, where she gets to be queen for a day and enjoys her time while someone else takes care of the chores. She never wins another contest or travels again, but finds happiness watching her children grow up and move on to live their own lives. Kelly is the first to pass away, but Evelyn later discovers that he had secretly saved all his pension checks in an account for her, ensuring she would never worry about money again. When Evelyn passes away too, all 10 of her kids return home to say goodbye and sort through the family's belongings. Tough, who becomes a writer, keeps her mother's typewriter. In real life, Tough grows up to publish a book about her mother's story, which later becomes the movie. Subscribe for popcorn. We are racing towards 500 subscribers.